Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're reading text number 4 of the Upadesha Amrita. Dadati pratigrinati Guyam makyati prichati Bhongte bojayate chaiva Sadvidam pritilakshanam
Dadati pratigrinati Guhyam akhyati prichati Bhukte bhojayate chaiva Sadvidam priti lakshanam
Yes. Someone else chant?
Dadati pratigrinati Guhyam akhyati prichati Bhukte bhojayate chaiva Sadvidam priti lakshanam Dadati pratigrinati Guhyam akhyati prichati Bhukte bhojayate chaiva Sadvidam priti lakshanam
Okay. Offering gifts in charity, accepting charitable gifts, revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasad and offering prasad are the 6 symptoms of love shared by one devotee and another. Alright, so we had just read that first verse of Shikshastakam, and we're continuing from that point in the purport. Not only is the chanter of the mantra, of the Maha Mantra purified, but the heart of anyone who happens to hear the transcendental vibration of Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare
is also cleansed. Even the souls absorbed, even the souls embodied in lower animals, insects, trees, and other species of life also become purified and prepared to become fully Krishna conscious simply by hearing the transcendental vibration. This was explained by Thakur Haridas when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquired from him how living entities lower than human beings can be delivered from material bondage. Haridas Thakur said that the chanting of the holy name is so powerful that even if one chants in the remotest parts of the jungle, the trees and animals will advance in Krishna consciousness simply by hearing the vibration. This was actually proved by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself when he passed through the forest of Jharkhand. At that time, the tigers, snakes, deer, and all other animals abandoned their natural animosity and began chanting and dancing in Sankirtan. Of course, we cannot imitate the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but we should follow in his footsteps. We are not powerful enough to enchant the lower animals such as tigers, snakes, cats, and dogs, or entice them to dance. But by chanting the holy name of the Lord, we can actually convert many people throughout the world to Krishna consciousness. Contributing or distributing the holy name of the Lord is a sublime example of contributing or giving charity, the Dadati principle. By the same token, one must also follow the Pratigrinati principle and be willing and ready to receive the transcendental gift. One should inquire about the Krishna consciousness movement and open his mind in order to understand the situation of this material world. Thus the Guyam Akyati Prichati principles in the jungle. At one point there was one devotee left in Hong Kong, and there was no other devotees. He was just on his own, and he was in Hong Kong. And Prabhupada said, just stay there. You know, the devotee had written to Prabhupada and said, Prabhupada, I'm just here on my own. I'm the only person here. I don't think it's any point for me to stay here. I think I should just leave and go somewhere else. Where do you want me to go? But Prabhupada wrote back to him and said, no, you just stay there. He said, you stay there and chant Hare Krishna. He said, one person chanting Hare Krishna will be very beneficial for the whole of Hong Kong. He said, just one person staying there chanting the holy name. And just like Prabhupada says here in the purport, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in the darkest places in the jungle of Jharkhand, and ferocious animals, and how they all became friendly and gentle. And they gave up their animosity and they were embracing each other. They developed their Krishna consciousness just simply by the association with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Prabhupada, of course, he's not saying we have to imitate Lord Chaitanya. We have to understand the difference between imitation and following in the footsteps. Right? Remember we gave some other examples about when we should be following in the footsteps and not imitating. Do you remember any? Some example?
Haridas Thakur. We should follow Haridas Thakur, but we cannot imitate him.
We should follow Haridas Thakur.
But we cannot imitate him like by chanting 192 rounds steady.
Yeah.
Krishna wakes up in the morning and meditates on his own name.
Uh-huh.
We have to wake up in the morning and meditate on Krishna's name.
Right, that's right. Yes, right. That was one example we gave. Yes. Huh?
Krishna married 16,100.
Right, yes. Krishna married 16,108 wives. So we shouldn't imitate that. But we can marry one woman and live in Krishna consciousness. Show a nice example in Krishna consciousness. Good. So those were some examples. And here we have another example about imitating. When Prabhupada said, don't try to imitate Lord Chaitanya to chant to the wild animals. But wherever you are, you know, even in the cities, even here in Hyderabad, chant the holy name. We give the holy name to people. And by giving the holy name, it's very beneficial for the whole environment. People need to see that example of devotees chanting the holy name. Do we have Sankirtan here? When do you have Sankirtan? Harinam Sankirtan?
We are planning to do on this Sunday, Radhashtami.
On Sunday? This Sunday?
For 1 hour in the morning, 7 a.m. to 8 a.m.
Oh.
In this whole society.
In this society, yeah. Yeah, we should have regular Harinam. It's important. Devotee, our Krishna consciousness movement should be known like that. that we go out regularly and distribute the holy name, chanting. I was in Hong Kong and I was preaching to some businessmen, some Indian businessmen there, and they were actually followers of Sai Baba. And they were saying to me, actually, he said, we're supposed to do what you're doing. He said, we know you go out and chant Hare Krishna and chant the holy name in the public. They said, we're all supposed to be doing that. He said, we're supposed to be doing it, but we don't do it. But he said, actually, we're supposed to do it. And so there are many groups like that, many spiritual groups. Just like, you know, you have these, in Bangalore, they're called the Hare Krishna Hill and the Vaikuntha Hill people. You know, that's the Ritvik. They have their place. So did they go out on Harinam? Did they ever go on Harinam?
Hardly.
Yeah, hardly. I'm sure hardly they go out for Harinam. But actually we should be going out regularly for Harinam. In England, in London, our devotees are known for Harinam. In fact, they were interviewing people that, what are the sights in London? What do you remember when you think of London? What sights do you think of? And some people were saying Hare Krishna. We see Hare Krishna devotees always out dancing in the street. So that was like one of the landmarks in London. The devotees go out regularly and chant the holy name. So yeah, it's actually our business to give the holy name. People are greatly benefited by hearing the holy name and seeing the devotees chanting. And several people have become devotees just from that, just from contacting the devotees. I know some people that they saw the devotees chanting. They were out there in the streets and they were like intoxicated or something, and they saw the devotees. Somehow they were attracted, and they followed the devotees, and they never left. They became, and like 50 years later, they're still devotees. So that's the power of the holy name, that it can really awaken Krishna consciousness in the dark hearts of even the most conditioned souls. So it's very important. Prabhupada wrote many letters telling the devotees that they should go out regularly for Sankirtan, go out in Harinam. You see, we were going out in England. We were going out every day in London, and even in the winter time, it's always, you know, England's always wet and windy and cold, sometimes even snow and ice, but devotees would always be out there. They'd be out there every day. And George Harrison, he would be going to his office, he would be going into the recording studios, and he would see the devotees, he'd see the devotees out there on the street. And he was inspired, he was so impressed. That was why he bought the Bhaktivedanta Manor for the devotees. Because he was so impressed with the devotees, that these people are making great sacrifice to just go out there and to chant the holy name. So it is very important, you know, we need to show people this example of selfless dedication to distributing the holy name, to giving the holy name, even in the most unfavorable circumstances. So we do encourage everywhere the devotees to go out. Prabhupada, when he brought the devotees to India, Prabhupada talked about devotees as dancing white elephants. He said, just like he said, when you have an elephant is a big attraction. But if it's a white elephant, it's even more attractive. Usually the elephants are grey. But if you have a white elephant, it's very attractive. And if it will dance, then it will really attract people. So the devotees from Africa, when they came, they called themselves dancing black elephants. The African devotees came. They didn't want to be white elephants, but they said black elephants. And they were doing the same thing, chanting, dancing, all over Africa. So this is our Krishna consciousness movement. This is what we're famous for. We're famous for chanting and dancing. People were asking, you were asking yesterday that, oh, nowadays people have all got, they've all got mobile phones and the technology, so they're not so much eager to get a hard copy of a book. But still we can give them the holy name. It's not that we should just sit in the temple, but we have to go out there, we have to show them what is the real business of a devotee. When somebody's actually Krishna conscious, then they'll be chanting the holy name, they'll be dancing. Remember in Chaitanya Charitamrita it was described how the devotee came to Lord Chaitanya. And he said to Lord Chaitanya, the devotee came from Kulinagram, and he came to Jagannath Puri, and he got to meet with Lord Chaitanya. And he told Lord Chaitanya, he said, you know, I'm in householder life, I'm a family man, I'm very fallen, how can I make advancement? So Lord Chaitanya told him, you have to constantly chant the holy name, and you should serve the devotees, serve the Vaishnavas. So then the man said to Lord Chaitanya, he said, how do I know who is a Vaishnava? Because if I have to serve the devotees, how do I recognize who is a Vaishnava, who to serve? And Lord Chaitanya told him, anyone who chants the holy name one time, he should be considered a devotee. So then the man was satisfied and he went away. But next year he came back again. And again he asked Lord Chaitanya, how do I recognize who is a devotee? And this time the man said, anybody who regularly chants the holy name, he is a devotee. So the man was satisfied, he went away. Next year he came back again. And again he asked Lord Chaitanya, how do I recognize who is a devotee? And this time Lord Chaitanya said, that person, simply by seeing him, makes other people chant the holy name. He is a Vaishnava, he is a devotee. You should serve him. So in this way, Lord Chaitanya was explaining the different levels of devotees. That there's somebody who just started to chant the holy name. He's just started to chant, maybe not chanting regularly, but he started, he's showing some interest. So he's a devotee, but he's not yet fixed in the chanting of the holy name. Another person's chanting regularly, faithfully chanting his rounds every day. He is a devotee. But the topmost devotee, you simply see him and he makes other people chant the holy name. So in this way, Lord Chaitanya was explaining the different levels of devotees. Of course, we'll hear about that as we go on in the next couple of verses. We'll hear more about different levels of devotees in chanting the holy name. But the idea is, we want to give the holy name. We do try to give the holy name. It's not just we only sell books. Selling books is only one part of the Krishna conscious program. We do sell books, we also teach what is in the books. And we also show the example of applying what's in the books by chanting Hare Krishna and doing Sankirtan. The best way for people to make advancement in this Kali Yuga is by Sankirtan, through the chanting of the holy name. This is one of our major activities as devotees. Of course, Lord Chaitanya brought the chanting of the holy name out of the temples. Before Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, the chanting of the holy name was only done in the temple, and it was only Brahmanas who were chanting the holy name, and they were doing it just in the temple. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and he brought the holy name to everyone, and he brought the holy name out of the temple, out into the public, to every street, every corner, everywhere, every town, every village. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's program, the chanting of the holy name. And the more people become Krishna conscious, the more there will be the chanting of the holy name. The success of our Krishna consciousness movement is when people are all chanting the holy name, taking part in the Sankirtan. We know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his identity is described in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? Krishna Varnam Sangopangasra Parshadam Yagnai Sankirtan Prae Yajantihi Sumedasaha. Sumedasaha. Sumedasa means auspicious intelligence. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna talks about people being Alpa Medasha, people who worship Ganapati and others like that. Antavatu palam tesham tad bhavati Alpa Medasham. Right? People of small intelligence. The Prabhu Alpa means very meager, very small, and Medasa intelligence. People of small intelligence. They have small intelligence. Why? Because they worship the gods for things which are limited and temporary. Anta vatu phalam tesham. They're worshipping the devas just to get results which are very limited and temporary. And so their brain is very small. Prabhupada says sometimes their brain is like stool. Contaminated intelligence. Because they can only think about material desires, and they worship for that purpose. But those people who have sumedha, who have purified intelligence, they will chant the holy names of the Lord and engage in the Sankirtan movement. So very, very important for us, actually, to perform Sankirtan regularly, to be going out regularly, chanting the holy name and giving the holy name to people. So this was discussed in Harinam Chintamani. It's quoted here. Prabhupada is describing the conversation between Haridas Thakur and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya had asked, how can the low-born living entities be delivered? And Haridas Thakur replied that simply by the loud chanting of the holy names. So it's very nice. We chant in the temple. You have wonderful kirtan here in the temple. We definitely want to take that kirtan out more into the public. And in this way, everyone will know more about Hare Krishna movement. Sometimes we go out, people will say, where have you been? That's not very good. People, you go out and sing kirtan, people say, hey, where have you guys been? I've never seen you guys for years. I was in Calcutta, and I went on one devotee there was in Calcutta, and he said he was going for Harinam Sankirtan, and he invited me. So I went with him, and together, the two of us, we went into Calcutta, and we were doing some Sankirtan there, chanting. And then I met some people, talking to some people just around. And then later on, I left India and I'd gone to Thailand, and I was there in Bangkok, and I was out in Bangkok doing Harinam Sankirtan. I met some of the same people who were there in India. I met them in Calcutta, and they were surprised. They said, hey, I saw you in Calcutta just a few weeks ago. You know. Then I was there in Bangkok, and I was still doing this. I was on the street out there chanting. So they were surprised, you know, that, wow, you people, you really chant, you really, this is your real business, your real activity. So I was chanting in Calcutta, I got to Bangkok, I was chanting there too. People saw. Another time I was in England. This was many years ago though, that happened. I was a young devotee, I remember. I was in England and I was doing book distribution. And then later on, somehow I'd gone to America, and I was in New York. And I met the same people I'd met in England. I met these two young men, you know, they were young American men. Somehow they were there in England, and I met them. And then later on, I was in New York, and I was in the bus terminal in New York, and we were doing Sankirtan there, distributing books and meeting people. And they were very surprised, you know, that, wow, we saw you in England, now you're here in New York. Still distributing books, doing Sankirtan. So it's important for us to be out there, you know, for people to see us. It's very important, because just when they see us, another time I was in Hong Kong, and I was doing, you know, Hong Kong, I usually do life membership preaching. I go to the businessmen and try to enroll life members and get some donations. So I was over in Hong Kong. Our temple's in Kowloon actually, but I was over in the Hong Kong side. And I was dressed as a devotee in my clothes and everything. And there was this woman from the Philippines, and she saw me, and she immediately saw me. She immediately went to the temple. She said, I saw the devotee, I understood that Krishna's reminding me. You know, she'd come to Hong Kong, but she saw a devotee, and as soon as she saw me as a devotee, she said, oh, Krishna's reminding me, and she went to the temple. So it has that effect on people, you know, they see us dressed as devotees. It's very important. You know, they see us with nice tilak and shaved heads and neck beads, and it's powerful. We sometimes we don't understand, but it really helps to awaken Krishna consciousness. And Lord Chaitanya was really strict about that. People would come, if they came to his class with no tilak on, he'd send them back, go back and put on your tilak. He said, if you don't have tilak on your forehead is like a crematorium. And so it's important for us that we decorate ourselves with the symbols of the Vaishnava. But the most important thing is the chanting of the holy name. Now sometimes you do get people, they go out for Sankirtan, and they go out and, you know, they're not dressed as devotees. And so it's not very nice. People see, you know, some parts of the world you go into, like, you know, Russia, different places, somewhere in Eastern Europe, not all the people there have devotee clothes. And sometimes also they don't like to wear devotee clothes. Sometimes, I remember sometimes in England, you know, people, they're just going to the market or they're just going shopping, they change their clothes, they put on karmi dress. They say, where are you going? They say, I have to go to the market, I have to go and, so, well, why you change your dress? Oh, I don't want people to see me. No, we should not mind. We should not mind to wear the devotee dress. It's actually purifying for people to see devotees. So wearing the devotee attire is important for us. And then people they recognize, oh, Hare Krishna devotee. They actually, when they see us, then they think, Hare Krishna. So it's very beneficial for them. We want to give the holy name to people. There was this one man from Thailand. No, he was actually an Englishman, a British man. And he went to Thailand and somehow he became a Buddhist monk in Thailand. He became a Buddhist monk, and so he shaved his head and he put on orange robes and everything of the Buddhist monk. Then later on he went back to England, and he said everywhere he went people were chanting Hare Krishna. You know, he'd become a Buddhist, you know. But everybody in England, whenever they saw him, they could only think Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. It was really funny, you know. Because sometimes devotees like in Hong Kong or in China, sometimes they say to me that nobody knows Hare Krishna here. Nobody knows. I told them, you go to England, nobody knows Buddhism. They only know Hare Krishna. And wherever you go, anybody who goes with a shaved head and saffron robes, they see them in a monk, they can only think Hare Krishna. So that's very nice. That's the power of our movement. Because our devotees are so active, they're preaching so much. And so much Sankirtan. And so it's really wonderful. Giving people the holy name. Okay, so we'll read a bit more here. The members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness invite the Society's members and supporters to dine with them when they hold love feasts in all their branches every Sunday. We used, the love feast, Prabhupada calls it love feast. That's how it was called in the 1970s. What happened to my microphone? Huh?
Just change the battery.
Change the battery. Oh, it's battery, is it? In the beginning of our movement, as you know, Prabhupada began the movement in the 1960s. In the 60s were quite wild, and they had things like, they had these unusual people called hippies and things like that. And so they used the term love feast. But over the years that name has not become so popular. People are a little worried that the people will get the wrong impression. They have a love feast. What's going on there? They'll think all kinds of sinful activities. Anyway, the Sunday program is certainly an important program, and we do invite people to come to the temple. Sunday program, maybe not so much in India, although also in India it seems we do get bigger crowds on Sunday. We get more people coming because they're not working. Sunday tends to be day off, and people are more free and they can come to the temple, more likely to come on the weekend than during the week. During the week everybody's working. I don't know, it must be the same in Hyderabad, although the traffic situation is better here, but certainly in Bangalore and in Calcutta people come more on Sunday, I remember also Mumbai also, we get more people who have the Sunday program. People like to come for the Sunday program. And we make a nice prasadam also. Prabhupada liked very much to see nice prasadam. Whenever Prabhupada would come to the temple, he would always say, bring me a plate of prasadam, I want to see what everybody's eating. Whatever program we had, if we had the program in the temple or outside the temple, Rath Yatra, whatever, Prabhupada would want to see what is the prasadam. And he would look at it, he would examine, is it cooked properly? And he would comment if it was good or not. So Prabhupada was very concerned about that the prasadam should be very nice, it should be attractive, nice prasadam. Of course, sometimes, like the Calcutta Rath Yatra, they had thousands of people there coming every day. So they would have khichdi. They have khichdi prasadam. But very tasty, very nice khichdi, and they'd have special prasadam for the donors and for life members. They'd give special prasadam, they make arrangements for them, that they get something special because they're the donors or they're the supporters of our Krishna consciousness movement. We do want to recognize their service. I know when I was in Bangalore for Janmashtami, and they had special cooks come and they prepared sweets. They prepared Mysore pak, and they prepared also laglu, and in this way they were giving these for the donors, the different donors who come. But they hired special cooks to come and make the sweets just to give out to these donors. So that is customary. We try to make nice arrangement, nice prasadam. Sometimes, like in America nowadays, I don't know, sometimes, but they were having to charge people. The people come for the Sunday feast, they would get them to pay some money. Because in America, well, you know, things are not cheap. It costs a lot of money. They spend a lot of, and some people have the, you know, they come and just take advantage. They just come to eat. And you get people, I know even in Pune, I heard in Pune that they had to have a special program because there were so many people coming just to eat. For the Sunday prasadam, they just come to eat. And so they would give out coupons at the beginning of the lecture. And if they came during the lecture, or at the end of the lecture, just in time for prasadam, then they didn't have the coupon. So then they have to purchase something, they have to pay something. So these are some issues which come up. These are managerial issues. This is for the managers to work on these things, you know. People who are trying to run the temple, you have to think about these things. You have to be practical. If a lot of people are just coming for the prasadam, in some ways it's good, but you know, you can't run the temple effectively like that. If they just come to eat, they don't hear the class, they don't take any interest, they just come only to eat. That's not so encouraging. You may think, well, they'll become devotees by eating prasadam, but they'll have to eat for a long time before they become devotees. It will take a lot of prasadam to make people Krishna conscious. So these are some problems which come up always. Running a Krishna conscious center, it's not an easy thing. It's not an easy. One time in London, the devotees in London, it was some festival, and so one man, he went to Prabhupada, and he said to Prabhupada, he said, the devotees are selling prasadam. He was complaining to Prabhupada. He said, why are these devotees selling prasadam? They should be giving it free. And Prabhupada said, because you're not donating. But then Prabhupada also told the managers, he said, you have to give some prasadam free. He said, you cannot just sell all the prasadam. So like that, sometimes, you know, you give free, you give khichdi. This is free. You want something else, then you have to pay. There's some issues which come up. We have to be practical, you know. We say, oh, you're prejudiced, you make discrimination. Yes, everybody does. That's everywhere. You get what you pay. Okay. Many interested people come to honor prasadam, and whenever possible, they invite members of the society to their homes and feed them sumptuously with prasad. In this way, both the members of the society and the general public are benefited. People should give up the company of so-called yogis, jnanis, karmis, and philanthropists, because their association can benefit no one. If one really wants to attain the goal of human life, he should associate with devotees of the Krishna consciousness movement, because it is the only movement that teaches one how to develop love of God. All right, so Prabhupada is explaining that sometimes people are very nice and they do invite us to their home, house programs. Maybe there's some function in their home, some special occasion, and they want to invite the devotees, and you go to their home and have a kirtan, give a class, and they also prepare food stuff to feed devotees. So of course we're cautious about this. And if people invite us, we want to know, first of all, are they vegetarian in their home? If they're vegetarian, we don't, but if they're not vegetarian, then of course we don't want to eat food cooked in their home, because their home is not sattvic. But if they invite us to their home, we can go, and we say we can bring the prasadam from the temple. We'll bring the prasad from the temple, you pay. You pay some money for it and purchase. And that way you can arrange. We do like to go to people's homes and sanctify them. Prabhupada was in London. One man came to him and he asked Prabhupada, he said, please come to my home, I want to invite you to my home. Prabhupada asked him, he said, do you eat meat? And the man said, oh yes, sometimes we eat meat. Then Prabhupada, then I will not come. And the man was so shocked. The man from that time on became vegetarian. It totally changed. So that was the power of the pure devotee. That Prabhupada spoke like that strongly to him. That if you're a meat eater, no, I have nothing to do in your home. I'm not coming. You want me to come to your home? You have to be serious. Your home should be sattvic. Of course, as I said, if we can bring the food, but they have to understand that they should make some contribution. That they want devotees to come there. People should be willing they should be supporters of our Krishna consciousness movement. Not that they shouldn't think, oh, I'm doing something, I'm very pious. I'm feeding these poor devotees. Rather, we're doing the favor for them by coming to their home. We're giving them the favor. So then Prabhupada is also speaking very strongly about these other people. These people from different yogis, jnanis, karmis, philanthropists, these kind of people. He said, they have nothing to give us. They have no benefit, they can do no benefit for other people. We may think, oh, they're yogis, they're also yogis. So what? Useless people. Simply useless. They simply do some business, you know, the yogi business. We don't have any real connection with them. And we don't want to identify so much with them either. So Prabhupada then speaks more about developing love of God, that the real business, our Krishna consciousness movement, is to teach people how to develop love of God. And Prabhupada said, religion is the special function of human society, and it constitutes the distinction between human society and animal society. Animal society has no church, mosque, or religious system. In all parts of the world, however, downtrodden human society may be there. There is some system of religion. Even tribal aborigines in the jungles also have a system of religion. When a religious system develops and turns into love of God, it is successful. So, Prabhupada is distinguishing between human society and animal society. Nowadays, this Kali Yuga has become so degraded that there are things called the atheist society. And the atheist society, they're active all over the world. I know some devotees who are living in Australia, and they have a program in Canberra. And Canberra is the capital of Australia, and the Australian National University, ANU, is there in Canberra. It's a famous university, prestigious. So they have a program for Krishna consciousness. They were approached by the chaplain. There was a chaplain, a Christian chaplain, and he contacted the devotees and he invited them that you could have a program for the Indian people, because there's a number of Indian people also in the university, and he thought it would be nice if you can have a program and make it for your Krishna conscious people. They have a Krishna conscious center there in Canberra, and they have a restaurant, and they have a number of devotees. So the chaplain invited them on the campus. The only thing was, when they do the program, the people who come after their program are the atheist society. And the atheist society come and they're really vulgar, they're really nasty, and they really criticize the devotees. You know, this is the work of the atheists. And there was even an instance, they have these buses in London. In London they have these double-decker buses, you know, big bus, double-decker buses, and they have advertisements along it. And the atheist society were putting big slogans on the side of the bus about atheism. Why should you believe in God? That nobody has ever seen God. Why you believe this? Different propaganda which the atheists make. They try to do these things. And so this is the Kali Yuga. People have become so degraded. Although they're supposed to be educated, they're even in the universities, And you've got these big scientists as well, these so-called big scientists, Hawkins and different people like this. They're just big demons, atheists, total atheists. They cannot understand the importance of religion at all. But Prabhupada is pointing out here, this is the difference between human society and animal society. The animals have no religion. But everywhere, people who are actually civilized, they will have some religion. If they're not having religion, then they're just dvipada pashu, two-legged animals. Business is the same. Prabhupada used to speak about the dog on 4 legs and the man on 4 wheels. The same business. The dog is thinking, where is food? Where is sleep? Where is sex? Like that. They're driving their car, but they're just thinking food, sleep, sex, defending. And this is animal life. Animal life is just based on these 4 activities. So human life is meant for inquiry, for investigation, to understand God and our relationship with God. So then Prabhupada continues, he said, as stated in the first canto Srimad Bhagavatam, Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo, the supreme occupation for all humanity to attain is that by which they can attain loving devotional service unto the transcendent Lord. Such devotional service must be unmotivated and uninterrupted in order to completely satisfy the soul. So this verse describes pure devotional service. Pure devotional service will have these characteristics: ahaitaki, unmotivated, and apratihata, uninterrupted. In other words, continuous. It's very rare people can be unmotivated. Everybody has to be motivated. You have to motivate people to do things. We have to motivate people. Just like you want people to donate for the temple, you have to motivate them sometimes. And they want to know, how big will you put my name? I want everybody to know how I'm a generous man, They like to get recognition, donors. So, Sridhar Swami was Prabhupada's disciple, and he was doing a lot of life membership work there in Juhu. And he pioneered a lot of fundraising there in Juhu temple, helped to raise a lot of funds for the Krishna consciousness movement. And he used to explain like that people, they want to know, what are you going to do for them? If people contribute, if they donate for you, what are you going to do? Are you going to put their name, give them some recognition? People, we could say, well, this is a mode of passion. Yes, but people are. They are in the mode of passion. And you have to motivate them that way. It's not pure devotion, but it engages people. In order to get them to engage, to do devotional service, that kind of motivation has to be there. Prabhupada said, if the members of the society actually want peace of mind, tranquility, and friendly relationships between men and nations, they must follow the Krishna consciousness system of religion, by which they can develop their dormant love for Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As soon as people do so, their minds will immediately be filled with peace and tranquility. In this regard, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur warns all devotees engaged in broadcasting the Krishna consciousness movement not to speak to the impersonalists and Mayavadis who are always determined to oppose such theistic movements. This is Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's standard, how he wanted the devotees. You don't even preach, don't even talk to these people, Mayavadis, impersonalists. No need to talk to them. Just avoid them. Leave them alone. Don't even think about, oh, they're holy people, they're sadhus. They're just nonsense people. So Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati said, don't even speak to them. Have nothing to do with them. Associating with people like that is very contaminating. Lord Chaitanya would go and throw himself in the Ganga to purify himself after having contacted such people. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Mayavadi aparadi. You mix with these people and we also become offenders. So we have to be very cautious, very careful. The world is full of Mayavadis and atheists, and the political parties of the world take advantage of Mayavada and other atheistic philosophies to promote materialism. Sometimes they even back a strong party to oppose the Krishna consciousness movement. The Mayavadis and other atheists do not want the Krishna consciousness movement to develop because it educates people in God consciousness. Such is the policy of the atheists. There is no benefit in feeding a snake milk and bananas because the snake will never be satisfied. On the contrary, by taking milk and bananas, the snake simply becomes more poisonous. Kevalam Vishwavardhanam. If a snake is given milk to drink, its poison simply increases. For a similar reason, we should not disclose our minds to the serpent Mayavadis and Karmis. Such disclosures will never help. It is best to avoid association with them completely and never ask them about anything confidential because they cannot give good advice. Nor should we extend invitations to Mayavadis and atheists, nor accept their invitations, for by such intimate intermingling we may become affected by the atheistic mentality. Sangat sanjayate kama. Sangat sanjayate kama, kama krodho vijayate. Krodhat bhavati samoham, samoham smriti vibhrama. Vibhramshat buddhi nashti nashati. Right, this is a fall down, stages of fall down described in the Bhagavad Gita. By contemplating the objects of the senses, person becomes attached to them. Then from such attachment, lust develops. From lust comes anger. From anger comes illusion. From illusion, bewilderment of memory. When the memory is bewildered, intelligence is lost, and a person falls down again into the pool of material existence. So in this way, the fall down of the living entity is described in the Bhagavad Gita. So Prabhupada is referring us to associate with these Mayavadis and impersonalists, atheists. They are atheists. Try to understand they're atheists because they're saying everyone is God. They're saying it's all one. So if everyone is God, there's no meaning to God anymore. So they're preaching that although they put on the guise of being a spiritual movement, they're actually preaching atheism. Buddhism is another atheistic philosophy. Buddhism, Mayavada, impersonalists, all these so-called people, they're just atheists. They don't believe in the personality of Godhead. So we have to be very careful about association with these people. And this kind of philosophy has become so popular around the world. So it happened in the UK, the devotees began to start teaching in schools. The devotees were introducing the Krishna conscious philosophy into schools because in the UK they do have quite a few religions, so they thought it would be nice that people coming to school, that they could hear all the different religions. They should hear about different religious traditions. Just like when I was at school, we were given a Bible. They would give us a Bible and they'd read the Bible. And I had a Bible study class. It was part of education at school. Now it used to be like that in India, but then India became secular. And they took everything out. And they don't want to educate people anymore about religion. So you get these kind of things, just like in the USA. In the USA they used to have prayer. They used to have prayer every day. But then some woman politician passed a bill in the state senate saying that it's wrong to impose religious values on people. So they decided, yes, it's not good to get people to pray. Just let them pray on their own. And so they took the prayer out of the whole education system. But the result is people just simply become atheistic. And when our devotees in England were teaching Krishna consciousness, people were surprised. They were surprised. They said, you have God? In Hinduism, is there God? Because they thought everyone is God. They thought the Hindu philosophy teaches it's all one. Everyone is God. And there are many gods, there are many devas, and they're all God. And they're all one. And so they thought that was the philosophy. And it was only the devotees going there and teaching gradually, they got it into people to get them to understand that that is not actually the real Sanatana Dharma. That is not the real religious tradition. That there's one supreme God over all others. So it was a surprise to people. People didn't know. Because the only people they heard from India, they would only hear like Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, and these kind of people. And then the Maharishi, of course, he became popular for some time. Maharishi. These are all, Mayavadi, impersonalist teachers. So this was the kind of books which were there in the West. So this is why Prabhupada gave the pranam mantra, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatcha Desha Tarine, preaching the message of Lord Chaitanya in the Western world to defeat impersonalism and voidism. Very important. This is our real preaching work, to expose these people. Actually, if you ask people, do you believe in God? They'll say, oh yeah, I believe in God. Oh, I believe in God. But they have no idea. They think, well, there are many gods, or we're all God. I said that myself. When I first went to the temple, I went to the temple in London and the devotee asked me, he said, do you know who God is? I said, yeah, I'm God. We're all God. You're God, I'm God. We're all God. Because I'd been reading all kinds of Mayavadi books. And the devotee laughed at me and said, you're God? I said, you can't lift the house. You can't lift this house. What can you do? What kind of God are you? So I was completely defeated. I had no arguments. But I was thinking I'd been influenced in these ways. And people do get influenced. And they think, you know, that we all evolved from the apes. Life has evolved, except Darwin, evolution. Oh, so many different atheistic theories are being presented to people. So it's very important for us to go everywhere, to go and preach. So having classes, giving courses in schools and colleges, educating people, very, very important part of our work as the devotees of the Krishna consciousness movement. We have to speak. We have to speak boldly. We have to challenge these other people. So there's so much to be done. Just push on the Krishna consciousness movement.
It is the negative injunction.
Sorry?
It is the negative injunction.
Oh, okay. It is the negative injunction of this verse that we should refrain from giving anything to or accepting anything from the Mayavadis and atheists. So not only do we not take anything from them, we don't give anything to them either. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has also warned, Vishaya yira ana kaila dushtahaya mana. By eating food prepared by worldly people, one's mind becomes wicked. Unless one is very advanced, he is unable to utilize everyone's contribution to further the Krishna consciousness movement. Therefore, on principle, one should not accept charity from the Mayavadis or atheists. Indeed, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has forbidden devotees to associate even with ordinary men who are too addicted to material sense gratification. So there's again more practical instructions given here. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu warned about accepting food grains from people. The mind will become polluted. The mind will become contaminated. If we take food from materialistic people, then the mind becomes polluted and it makes it very difficult to remember Krishna. This was pointed out in the example in relation to Kamalakanta Vishwasa. Right? Do you know who Kamalakanta Vishwasa was? Huh? Who was Kamalakanta Vishvasa? Advaita Acharya's secretary. Yeah. So Kamalakanta Vishvasa, he wrote a letter. He wrote a letter, it was meant to go to Maharaj Prataparudra. And Kamalakanta Vishvasa described in his letter that Advaita Acharya is the personality of Godhead and he is in debt 300 rupees. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu got the letter and he saw the letter and he said, oh, it is very good. He has recognized that Advaita Acharya is the personality of Godhead. That's very good. But he said it's very bad that he said he's in debt 300 rupees. He said, how is it possible somebody is God and they're in debt 300 rupees? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, this person, Kamalakanta Vishvasa, should not come in my association anymore. And so when Advaita Acharya heard this, then Advaita Acharya became upset. And Advaita Acharya said, why are you giving him more mercy than you gave to me? He said, when I preached the Mayavadi philosophy, when I preached about the Yoga Vashishta, that time you only came and beat me. But you gave him greater punishment than me. You're not even allowing him to come in your association anymore. And so you're showing more mercy to him than you showed to me. And so Lord Chaitanya was defeated, and he said, all right, then bring him here. And they brought Kamalakanta Vishvasa, and Lord Chaitanya instructed him how it's very important that you don't take food grains and you don't take charity from materialistic people. There were some devotees in Indonesia, in Bali, and I was hearing that they would only take charity from people who were strict devotees. They would not take charity from anybody who was not a strict devotee. Because they understood if you take charity from a materialistic person, then you can become polluted. Your mind can become affected. This is the danger. If you take the money which materialistic people give, if we take it for our own purpose, our mind will become affected with materialism. So that is why Prabhupada always said, you have to give the money for the Krishna consciousness movement. We can give to the Krishna consciousness movement, but don't take the money for yourself. The Krishna consciousness movement can purify everything. And so it can accept money from materialistic people. It can use it for the service of Krishna. But if we think it's for myself, we use anything for our own self, we will become polluted, we will become affected. So we have to be very cautious about how where, who we take anything from. Otherwise, it can be affected. Yes?
Maharaj, it was mentioned here that on the principle, one should not accept charity from Mayavadis and atheists. What does it mean exactly on the principle?
One should not accept charity from a Mayavadi sannyasi.
An atheist.
Huh?
An atheist.
Atheist. Well, the principle is, that we do accept charity from one devotee. A devotee may give charity, that's the principle. Dadati pratigrina, offering gifts and accepting charitable gifts. This is an item of loving exchange between one devotee and another. So that's the principle is it's a loving exchange between devotees. But somebody's a Mayavadi, they're not devotee. Why will we accept charity from them? They have nothing to give us. We don't need their charity. They don't have love. Why we should take anything from them? We have nothing to do with them. And so that is just the harsh reality. Because in the Vedic culture, Brahmanas generally, they would live by charity. Right? A Brahmana can perform 6 activities. Worship the deity, teach others to worship the deity, study the scriptures and teach the scriptures, accept charity and give charity. This is the business of the Brahmana. So the Brahmana can maintain himself in this way. He can accept charity, and he can also teach, and he can study. But he doesn't have to depend on the charity to come from from somebody who's a Mayavadi. Mayavadi, atheist. But if you take charity from them, then you take their karma also. And they have karma. They're not detached from the material world. They have their own karma. So you take anything from them, and then it's very contaminating. Of course, we may give them prasadam like that, but we don't encourage them. If they come, we wouldn't. Of course, we don't refuse them, but at the same time, we don't have any real relationship with them. One time there was this one Mayavadi sannyasi, he was going to Europe. He came to London, and Prabhupada had given him a letter, because he came with Prabhupada in India, and he told Prabhupada, he says, Swamiji, I want to go to Europe, I'm going to go to England. Can you give me a letter? I can help accommodation in your temple. So Prabhupada somehow, he gave him a letter. He said, give him 3 days to become a devotee. He said he can stay for 3 days to become a devotee. After that, then he has to go. So like that. So people who are Mayavadis, they're atheists, and they're certainly, their hearts are full of material desires, material contamination. We don't want to associate with them. There's no need to show too much affection for them. We were doing class on the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Brihad Bhagavatamrita was describing how Lord Krishna was very kind to different demons, like Kamsa. After Lord Krishna killed Kamsa, then Lord Krishna performed a nice funeral ceremony for Kamsa. And they invited everybody, all the men came, all the gopas, they had contact with Krishna. So they got a lot of purification just by being close to Krishna. So Krishna arranged their funeral. But Sishupal and Dantavarka, Krishna didn't bother anything about them, because they were really demons. They were envious of the brahmanas and the cows, and they didn't care about these things. They were totally materialistic and demoniac. So Lord Krishna didn't bother about Dantavarka and Sishupala. Just leave them. He decapitated Sishupala, of course. But he didn't bother about his funeral, because he was so envious. He knew anyway they're going to go back to Vaikuntha. They're the doorkeepers. Okay. The conclusion is that we should always keep company with devotees, observe the regulative devotional principles, follow in the footsteps of the acharyas, and in full obedience carry out the orders of the spiritual master. In this way, we shall be able to develop our devotional service and dormant Krishna consciousness. The devotee who is neither a neophyte nor a Mahabhagavat, a greatly advanced devotee, but is within the middle status of devotional service, is expected to love the Supreme Personality of Godhead, make friends with the devotees, show favor to the ignorant, and reject the jealous and demoniac. In this verse, there is brief mention of the process of making loving transactions with the Supreme Personality of Godhead and making friends with the devotees. According to the Dadati principle, an advanced devotee is supposed to spend at least 50% of his income on the service of the Lord and his devotees. Srila Rupa Goswami has set such an example in his life. When he decided to retire, he distributed 50% of his life's earnings to Krishna's service and 25% to his relatives, and kept 25% for personal emergencies. This example should be followed by all devotees. Whatever one's income, 50% should be spent on behalf of Krishna and his devotees, and this will fulfill the demands of Dadati. So this is another very important instruction from Srila Prabhupada, and it is one which is not very often followed. Right? There's many people working. How many of them give 50% for the Krishna consciousness movement? You could, of course you could say, well, when I retire I will do it. Rupa Goswami did it when he retired. So I will wait till retirement. Okay. Post-dated check. It's a post-dated check. But this is the system. You should give 50% for the service of Krishna. And in this way, you keep yourself living simply. Of course, this is for, well, Prabhupada said this is for all devotees. Kolaveka Sridhar is an example. Kolaveka Sridhar was very poor. He only had a few banana trees, a little piece of land with some banana trees, and he would sell sometimes the banana flour or sometimes the banana bark. And in this way, somehow he would make an income. And whatever income he got, he would always give 50% to go and worship Mother Ganga. And in this way, he was maintaining his life. His home was in ruins. His home had holes in the roof. And he had an iron pot to drink water from. Who would drink water from the iron pot? Kolaveka Sridhar had this pot which he would use. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came there and he drank from it. Kolaveka Sridhar was very disturbed. He did not want Lord Chaitanya to drink water from his iron pot. But Lord Chaitanya was showing his love for Kolaveka Sridhar. And Lord Chaitanya offered benediction to Sridhar that, what do you want? What benediction can I give you? And Sridhar said, just let me go on doing as I am doing. Whatever income I get, I spend 50% to worship Mother Ganga. I just want to continue in that way. And Sridhar gave the example, he said the bird is living in his nest in the tree and the king is living in his palace. Everyone is suffering and enjoying according to their past deeds. He said, why I should change anything? So this is the principle. You give 50% for the service of... No, you may say, oh, I will never maintain my family. How I can maintain my family? Yeah, well, of course, what can we say? This Prabhupada said, this is for all devotees, supposed to follow this. But especially, of course, the wealthy people. People in business, making money and things. Other people live simply. But I was in the Middle East and I was giving class on Bhakti Shastri, Nectar of Instruction, and we came to this verse. So I asked all of them in the Middle East, how many of you give 50%? Nobody. Not one person was giving 50%. Why don't you give 50%? And they said, no. They just laughed. They said, no way, cannot. But you want to make advancement, this is one way to do it. This is one way to become detached. To give, if you can give 50%. Of course, it's difficult. But we may say, well, everything we give is for Krishna consciousness. If we're a devotee family, whatever money you have, you're using it for Krishna's service. You have a family, you have children, you have to pay something for their education, you have to buy clothes and so on. And so they're also devotees. You can see it all in relation to Krishna. It's certainly a challenge to try to see how to give everything, give 50% for the service of the Krishna consciousness movement. Not everybody makes a lot of money. Some people, they struggle to live. It's difficult. I was in Mayapur and I met, well, there was one very nice man. He told me he's working, he has a job, he was working in a kind of bakery house or something. And so he gets 8,000 rupees a month. So 8,000 rupees a month, he has 2 children and wife and 2 children. The 2 children have to go to school. It's not easy. You have to maintain the house, maintain the children. Some rent has to be paid for the house, maybe, I don't know, maybe he built his own house. But even you build the house, still you have to maintain the house. You have to have some money to go here, to go to work, send the children to school. He told me he cannot afford to get the children into the school in Mayapur. The Mayapur school is expensive, need more money. So he sends them to Navadvip, to the government school. So you go to the government school. So cheaper. But how to manage, how can you give some 50% to the Krishna consciousness movement? Anyway, Kolaveka Sridhar, he could do it somehow. He was able to do it. That was his greatness. Anyway, giving 50% is an important principle. In the next verse, Srila Rupa Goswami informs us what kind of Vaishnava should be selected as a friend and how Vaishnavas should be served. So that's the next verse. Any questions? Yes, Prabhu.
Yesterday, you have told there are schools of Hindus and Vaishnava schools also can be there for normal people.
What?
Like we came to here now. Like we studied outside. I studied outside. I connected with devotees. Similarly, for outside childs, are there any Vaishnava schools? Can we train from childhood them?
Can we change from childhood?
Can we train them from childhood according to Vaishnava? If we have some schools or institutions, education institutions, do we have them or we have to?
Who?
ISKCON.
Can we train people to become devotees from childhood? Well, yes, of course.
Do we have them right now? Institutions, education institutions?
Well, we have schools in Mayapur. There is a school in Mayapur. You have the international school, and then you have the national school, and you have also the traditional Gurukula. So in Mayapur they do make some attempt to train people from childhood. Yes, it's important. I was in Bangalore, and I saw in Bangalore they have this Sanskrit college. They have 300 people coming there, studying. 300. They're coming, they're learning Sanskrit, they're learning the different teachings of Madhvacharya, a complete refutal of the impersonal philosophy, to establish the Vaishnava philosophy. So they have a big school there, 300 people studying there. And then the boys come from the age of 12 and they study up to the age of 22. And then 22, then they will go and they'll get some post somewhere. Maybe there'll be a cook or there'll be a pujari, and some even go on to become preachers. But that's there in the Madhva school. So we're behind. We haven't got really very much set up. Something going on. His Holiness Bhaktividyapurna Swami Maharaj began a traditional Gurukula there for the young boys there in Mayapur. And he continues, and there's other people taking over also now, because Maharaj is older now, his health is not so good, but still he's preaching. He does do a lot of preaching. He has his own private courses, training people in the Shastras, the Sandarbhas, and all the different scriptures. So his course is about 10 years also. It takes about 10 years to go through it all. So there are some things going on. We have also Eco Village. They have also a lot of Shastric courses going on there. People who want to study more Shastras go there to the Eco Village and study there. And then you have also Vrindavan Institute. They have courses going on. So there are opportunities. In Mayapur also, Mayapur Institute, they have, after Bhakti Vaibhav, they have Bhakti Sarvabhauma. which is going on just now, Bhakti Sarvabhauma's Canto 7 up to Canto 12 of Srimad Bhagavatam. So it's said that once you complete Bhakti Sarvabhauma, then you're qualified to become an initiating guru, and you can accept disciples. And this is what they're saying. So there's some women there. Some women, now that women have begun initiating, more women will want to come. Yes?
Maharaj, in the purport it's mentioned, people should give up the company of so-called yogis, jnanis, karmis and philanthropists because their association can benefit no one. So during book distribution, we meet a lot of these karmis and philanthropists. And then we like keep a touch with them and request for the donation, something like that. And further also you mentioned if we take some donations from them, so we get their karmas also. So what can be done, like both the side is this?
Well, I said you take the donation on behalf of the society. You don't take the donation for yourself. You take it for the society. If you take it for yourself, then you get the karma. So you're very cautious that you can engage them in the service of the Krishna consciousness movement. But don't ask them to give charity for you. Don't take the charity for yourself. Even though they may say, this is for you. I'm giving this for you. Oh yes, 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 thank you. And then you give it to Krishna. But don't be tempted to think, oh, he gave it to me. Understand, he's just giving karma. He's giving karma. So yeah, we do try to engage these people in the service of Krishna.
And another question is, Maharaj, like you mentioned about the Juhu thing that Maharaj used to trick them and get somehow the donations for the temple, Juhu. But one of the principles, one of the qualities of becoming a sadhu is being truthful. So here in service we become something which is not there.
Well, yes, we should be truthful. Maharaj was truthful also. When he was fundraising, it was, you know, as truthful as they could, you know. We want people to become life members. We tell them, yeah, you become a life member, we'll give you the card. When the card says you can stay for 3 days. And so, I mean, we cannot ensure that these things are followed everywhere, but at least, you know, you give them the card. In the future, the guest house is coming. Just be patient. So, like that, you know, in the beginning, we didn't have many guest houses, but gradually, make some arrangement, try to make some arrangements to accommodate people. We see now, Abbas has got they've got a number of rooms there, and Juhu have got rooms, and Mayapur have got rooms, and Vrindavan have got rooms. So gradually, a few places offering facilities. Try to make some arrangements. And even if we don't have rooms, then at least, you know, we can offer prasadam. Come for prasadam. So it's not being outright dishonest. But Prabhupada used to joke also. He said that his godbrothers used to talk about Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. They used to tell people that our Guru Maharaj lives on tulsi leaves. They said Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Prabhupada had just lived on tulsi leaves. And in this way they would impress people and get people to contribute for the Gaudiya Math. So, okay. We need to encourage people to serve Krishna. So sometimes we may have to exaggerate a little bit, but gradually. We try to be as truthful as possible. Just like people give money, if we tell people we're feeding the people in Bangladesh, we're feeding people in Bangladesh, then Prabhupada said then the money has to go to Bangladesh. It has to go for food distribution in Bangladesh. If we raise funds telling people that we're raising funds for food distribution, the money has to go for food distribution. That should be there. That Prabhupada said that's important. If you're telling people you're doing this, then you have to do it. You can't take the money for something else. So Prabhupada encouraged the devotees to be honest. So if we tell people one thing, we cannot take the money and do something else.
Third question, Maharaj, you mentioned this clicking this thing is in the mode of passion, and mostly we are told to be in the mode of goodness. So, and then again you told that sometimes we can exaggerate to not getting clarity what exactly.
Well, I was explaining that some people, they want to know more what good you do for them. They want some benefit from their charity. They don't want to know, I mean, we come to them and ask them for donations. They want to know what are we going to do for them. So what are we going to do for them? We'll put your name up here, One of the donors, put the name, show the names there. I saw at Calcutta Rath Yatra, they had a big list of different donors, all the names were there, the people who had donated towards the cost of different programs at Rath Yatra. So they had a big list of all the different names of people who contributed. So, that's the mode of passion. But, of course, you could say, well, it's encouraging people to do service for Krishna. They are in the mode of passion. Doesn't mean the devotees are in the mode of passion. They may be more passionate about it. Not everybody wants to get recognition, but generally, people doing business, they like that a little bit. That their donation is being recognized. It's being appreciated. People see, this was contributed by this person. So they feel good about it. So you may say it's a mode of passion. Yeah. The devotee's purpose is in the mode of goodness. It's for the service of Krishna. But sometimes we have to show a little bit the mode of passion there to encourage them. But not everybody's so pure that they want to just give charity in the mode of pure goodness. The highest charity is given that nobody knows. You give the charity without telling people. You just give it. That's the highest charity. But not everybody's on that level. So to encourage people that they will donate, just like, they give Kailash. You have a Kailash. At Janmashtami, we give you a Kailash and you can use that Kailash to bathe the deities. Do you do that? Did you do that? Sometimes, some temples they do that. And you have a Kailash and you get a lot of people, they'll donate whatever, how much money, I don't know. But they use the Kailash to bathe the deity and they get the Kailash to keep the Kailash. You could say that's the mode of passion. Well, people like it. They like that kind of thing. We have to encourage them. We have to find a way and means to encourage people to serve Krishna. You know, if you can solve all your financial problems just by getting people to bathe the deities and can buy a kalesh, then very good. Right? Then you can concentrate more on preaching. You don't have to worry about fundraising to maintain the temple. So we do these things. Yeah, we have to do these things.
Maharaj, final question, like you mentioned about when we raise funds for some one purpose, but it should be used for that same purpose. It can't be used for another purpose. But I heard in Bhakti Vaibhav, which is written by Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj, it is mentioned that Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj used to raise funds in Puri for the temple construction, but he used to use for preaching for some festivals during Gaur Purnima in that way.
Well, I don't know. He would raise funds
For constructing the temple,
to construct the temple.
but utilize those funds for preaching during the Gaur Purnima festival.
Hmm.
And then again, Maharaj used to instruct his disciples, go and get more funds for the constructing the temple.
Hmm. Well, that was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's time. Srila Prabhupada was a bit more cautious because we're working more in the Western countries. So in the Western countries there are very strict laws, legislation about these things. The things are monitored very carefully. You know, you go out there and you start collecting money in the streets in America or in London and like that. And you tell people you're doing this. You tell them you're using the money for food that they want to see it. They'll investigate you. So you have to be very cautious what you do in the Western countries in different circumstances. And here in India you can get away with these kind of things. Not quite so strict. But as you say, we should be truthful, right? We should be truthful. It's better. Honesty is the best policy. So we say, tell people we're doing this, we should do it. We want the money for that, it should be done. You do get some people that do that, you know. There was this one person, there was this one devotee. He was in Bangkok and he had a temple. And he was always telling people, I need money for this, I need money for that. He would never do it. He would always tell people, yeah, I'm going to rebuild this, I'm going to do that. He would always tell people, can you give a donation? I want to fix this and I'll get that fixed. He'd never do it, but he'd take the money, take the money. So it's not very good, not very honest. We raise funds, we should use the money for what we say. Better to be honest. Okay, any other question? Okay, so then we'll stop here today. We'll go on tomorrow, text number 5. Text number 5. We'll hear about the holy name. Okay? Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.